My name is Jonathan Lopez, and this is my project, Spotify Sonic Boom and How It Changed Music Worldwide. 3 days into the year 2019, I decided to switch from SoundCloud to Spotify. I could have picked iHeart or Pandora, but I was favoring the UI design, its PlayStation integration, and the fact that I could listen to whatever I wanted whenever. On SoundCloud, some of the best songs were on a paywall, so you had to listen to a pirated version, a sometimes subpar remix, or just not at all. Spotify was launched in 2008 in Sweden by co founders Daniel Ek and Martin Lorentzen, who had decided that the best way to solve the problem of piracy was to create a service that was better than it and at the same time compensates the music industry. They were intent on making customers out of an audience that would or could not pay for their music. Once the Napster CEO saw how this new product could disrupt the market, he endorsed it and introduced them to Mark Zuckerberg, who quickly integrated it into Facebook. These notable early adopters were they made the sheer speed and scale of Spotify's growth possible. In just 4 days, Spotify gained 1 million new users. This Facebook integration was Spotify's breakthrough into critical mass and some of their early majority. Spotify changed the way people interact and share their musical tastes. An interview with classmate Ed Mullen points out that Spotify's sociability features give a persistent awareness of friends' listening habits. It builds a sense of companionship and it helps with emotional security. It disproves the digital dualism fallacy while also proving the intersection of online and offline, and a networked sociality where the more people use the internet, the more social contact they have with their existing friends. The sharing of Spotify Wrapped with family and friends, particularly on social media accounts, it allows for a wide range of people to bond or bicker over their musical tastes. They feel socially united because there's so many people doing the same thing, like the New Year's Ball. It demonstrates temporal symmetry, cognitive cohesion. On the topics of community and Spotify Wrapped, when I started to explore my newfound understanding and appreciation of rock music, more of this in culture, I noticed that a lot of the community was based in Nordic countries, and I made a mental note to travel there when I was older to experience it firsthand. The 2023 Spotify Wrapped, however, told me that in Pittsburgh I could find similar listeners, so I could support a much less distant relationship right here in the US because of Spotify. Spotify revitalized the music industry as a whole and has been constantly innovating sustainably. When it was shown to the American record labels, they mainly agreed because the global music industry was failing due to piracy and iTunes downloads. Much like the Kodak executives, they had no idea how people consumed or shared digital media. The success of Spotify slowed down the value deprecation of the music industry as it began to reach a positive gross margin. Apart from premium targeting high end customers with better performance, they also followed Cheo's advice for obtaining new processes and values. They acquired new podcasting organizations and made their own Spotify studios to lessen royalty costs, and at the same time help smaller independent artists. All of these are affected by the algorithms they have recently inputted that help users find music of their taste and get new tastes and genres. These continual sustaining innovations are the utility that caused the late majority and the laggards to eventually join the platform. Spotify created a new culture in which instant access via streaming was more favored than the ownership of CDs or downloads. The desire for on-demand access spread to radio, which Pew Research has recorded slowly decreasing while podcast is on the rise, and Spotify is already investing in it. It is Spotify has acted as an interactive music platform. It has given the public a chance to express themselves further conveniently. The biographies, records, and concerts are more readily available, directly implemented into the artist page. Helps users and artists alike. personal example I have is that back in 2020, because of a joke comment on a YouTube video, I found a pretty cool rock band and discovered that the harmful stereotypes surrounding it, of it only sounding like a few certain bands, were untrue. I started searching, learning, and adding a whole new culture of music to my playlist, and discovered more types of music thanks to algorithmic suggestions and biographies. These sustaining innovations to make podcasts and music in general convenient and accessible on demand. It appeals to more individuals' needs, problems, and goals. It helps to diffuse their innovations and products. Today, the Spotify Wrapped was released, and while I'm mostly fine with it, it's definitely a downgrade compared to the amount of data there was last year, which most people online are agreeing with. They devoted their attention to this new AI Wrapped podcast, and some people have also connected it to a recent layoff, and that's why they think it's not that good. The AI podcast really didn't add anything new. It was only 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and it mostly just summarized what was already available in the animation. While Spotify positively affected relationships, works, culture, and showing how it's an overall benefit to a social life, it still caused many questions and problems. The instant online access harms the profitability of physical items like the album itself or the concerts. Ed Mallon related Spotify to Netflix, which bankrupted Blockbuster and several other companies due to its vast digital library of movies. There's also the question of how the laws surrounding the music industry will change to accommodate this digital access, considering Spotify only pays artists 3 to 5 thousandths of a cent per stream on average, which, to be fair, is more likely to do with the wide range of eligible artists. Disruptive innovation explains how Spotify upended the traditional music industry by prioritizing accessibility and affordability. It highlights how Spotify expanded the market, attracting users who may have never purchased CDs or downloads. And it aligns with the theory's core of serving a underserved or new audience through a simpler, convenient solution. It doesn't explain, though, how Spotify successfully reshaped music as a shared experience. The cultural shift between how people relate music and to each other, it could not have been predicted by the disruptive innovation theory. These are my references. If you have any questions, leave them below, and thank you for listening.